Hello, everyone, and welcome. My guest today is Lisa Carreon. Lisa is a single mom of 2 boys, one of whom is on the autism spectrum. She works full-time, and in her spare time, she is the founder and president of the San Fernando Valley chapter of the Fantastic Friends organization. She enjoys staying active and taking her kids to the movies, museums, and other local activities. Lisa, welcome, and thank you for joining me to discuss this wonderful organization that you're a part of. If you don't mind, let's begin. If you would describe the Fantastic Friends organization, what it's about, what its mission is, and also, is this something that's nationwide? Is this something that, people in other parts of the country can also look up and join in on if they want to?
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. I found Fantastic Friends through a news or a magazine article, and I liked the concept of it. They were bringing together special needs teens with typically developing peer volunteers, and the goal was to get some more inclusion-based activities for the special needs community. And the founder actually founded it for her own brother. So Marissa and her brother Matthew are twins. So as you can imagine, twins that are teens, are usually experiencing the same thing. But in Marissa's case, her brother also has autism. Mm-hmm. And she could see that he was feeling less included as she was moving forward with her teen activities, and wanted to give him an opportunity not to feel left out with his peers. And so she started the organization herself when she was 15, I believe.
Wow.
And, from there she started a nonprofit, national nonprofit, by the time she was 19, 20 years old.
That's impressive.
It was very impressive. I reached out to their website to see if they had a chapter available here. But at the time, they didn't have any chapters on the West Coast, really. So I contacted Marissa, and I said, I would like to start a chapter here because I have a son with autism, and I'm facing the same things with him at the time. And she was more than happy to help me start the organization here.
Wow, so she's on the East Coast, correct?
Yes, she's in New Jersey.
Okay, and you're here in California, Southern California to be specific, in the Los Angeles area. What are there other chapters as well in other states?
There are other chapters. I believe she has one in South New Jersey where she was going to school at the time. She's since graduated. And there's other ones in the Buffalo area, Miami. So she has several, but they're all on the East Coast. I'm the only one here on the West Coast.
Okay, so perhaps, who knows, perhaps somebody who's listening might be interested in starting a chapter in their local area.
Right.
But if you could now tell us a little bit more about the organization and what it does, the kinds of events that you have. Are there events that, for example, might include neurotypical siblings? Tell me a little bit more about what the organization does.
So the types of events that we have in our chapter, they're just different kinds of things that we do, whether it's at a park doing some type of sports events, or we're indoors. This last weekend we had our pumpkin decorating event, and it just kind of depends on what we're going to do, what the location is. Now, we do, our age group is 12 to 19, and I do get some people that ask to join that are a little bit younger, a little bit older. For me, it was the teenage years, which is kind of difficult, that whole fitting in, and so that's why I kind of targeted that age group. But I do also want to expand the group into doing some events for our siblings because they have a similar situation or similar scenarios going on in their own home, and it's just kind of nice for them to connect with others who are, kind of dealing with the same thing, and just a way for them to have another person relate to them. So I do want to start doing some more sibling activities, and we just started doing some parent group activities as well, just because during our events when our parents stay, I noticed they were kind of, networking a little bit, talking and getting to know each other, and I thought, you know what, we need to get together as parents, just the parents, so that we can talk and be vulnerable and have that moment too. So there's a lot of different ways I want to go, different directions for this group, not just for our teens, but I feel like there's a little bit need for our siblings and our parents as well.
So it sounds to me like this is a wonderful group, Lisa. It sounds to me like the main point is inclusion, so that the young people who do have special needs can feel included, can be among their peers, can feel at ease and comfortable participating in the activities, but also an opportunity for them to interact in a fun way with their siblings, and an opportunity for the parents to feel supported and be able to reach out to other parents and network and perhaps find answers about something that they're looking for, or just have a time to go out and have fun with their special needs child and have some support while they're doing it.
Absolutely. It definitely is a tribe that, sometimes as special needs parents, it can feel a little lonely, because our friends that don't have to deal with certain situations that we do, and granted, I know typically developing children have, their things that their parents deal with, but it definitely is a little bit different. I think there are some stressors that are involved that other parents may not understand or realize when something is a milestone for our kids seems pretty ordinary. So it can be kind of lonely as a special needs parent, and I think with us coming together more and supporting each other more, it kind of makes us feel like we have a place and we have a sounding board with our other parents as well.
That's terrific, Lisa. Let me ask you, what inspired you to become involved with Fantastic Friends in the first place? You are also the parent of a person with special needs, is that right?
Yes, my son Emilio is 14 now, and the reason why I started looking for a peer group for him is I could see as he started middle school, it was hard enough to start that first year of middle school and finding your place, and he just seemed like he was getting a little more withdrawn with his own peers and wanting to meet other kids and wanting to be part of the general population at school and trying to fit in, but didn't quite know how to do it, didn't know what to say, didn't know what was appropriate and not appropriate. And I said I need to find a peer group for him so he can interact and learn how to interact with other kids. But everywhere that I found, at least in my general location, it all seemed like they were involving all special needs children only. And to me, I felt like, well, who are they going to learn? What are they going to learn? Who are they going to learn from? These are all the same children that are having the same kind of social deficiencies where they don't know how to respond to somebody, or they may not understand when someone looks at them like, I don't know what you mean, So when I found Fantastic Friends, that was, for me, like, this is exactly what I'm looking for, but there was no organization that I could find out here for that age group. I know there's a lot of groups that help younger children, but for my son's age, I didn't see that. So, it didn't take me long. It was a couple of months, and I thought, okay, you know what? I'm gonna bite the bullet, and I'm gonna go for it, and I'm gonna contact Marissa and say I want to start it here as well. And like I say, she was more than happy to help me start that here for my son and other children like him in his age group. And sometimes as parents, we're waiting to find that one thing that we're looking for, and sometimes we just have to be the person to do it. And I found with the parents that come to our group, this was something they were looking for too, and I know it because they come to our events very frequently. Well,
bravo to you, Lisa, for stepping up, for realizing that there was a need, and for stepping up and filling that need by doing this for the young people in that age group. That's wonderful. That's amazing. What are some of the biggest challenges? I mean, you mentioned some of them, but if you were to say, mention the challenges that you find to be the biggest ones as a parent of a person with special needs, if you were to say that the top three that you wanted to address and perhaps address through this organization, what would those challenges be? Because I have a feeling a lot of our listeners will probably share many of those same challenges.
I think for me, my son has some challenges in expressing himself, and it becomes quite frustrating for him. And for me as a parent to see that, it kind of hurts my heart a little bit. I don't know what to say to help him understand. So, just trying to help him with those types of things. And, when things become frustrating, there's a lot of coping that he doesn't have, that coping skill to handle certain situations. And even now, his first year in high school, 2 years later after we started this group, it's almost like he's starting at the bottom again. So he's learning again, like how to cope with different people's personalities, different people's actions. So that puts a strain in the household sometimes when we're trying to do this. And also, honestly, as having another child that's typically developing is not leaving that child out of the equation. We become so used to them being independent sooner than they really should be. So making sure that my younger son doesn't feel all of my attention going to the one child that needs it the most, and making sure that we have time to connect for ourselves. And, I don't want him to feel that this is going to be his responsibility later in life, So teaching my kid how to learn his own living skills, life skills, I should say, making sure that my son has the life skills for himself so that the younger sibling doesn't feel that responsibility. So it's definitely a balance. It's definitely a balance that I have to try and give to both of my kids.
And I'm sure a lot of other parents share those same issues and challenges. So just hearing you express that and talk about it and having basically reached out and created your own solution, or at least a solution, to try and address some of those, I think is absolutely fantastic, to use a word. And so I really want to applaud you for that. And at this point, I want to give you the opportunity to basically add anything else you'd like to add. And also, if our listeners have questions or want to know more about Fantastic Friends Organization, how can they reach out and contact you?
Yeah, of course. With the organization, what we're doing, I think there's also a benefit to our volunteers. So getting volunteers to be involved, ages 12 to adults. Our 12 to 19-year-old volunteers, they are the backbone of inclusion, right? So we want to make sure that they come to our events and they like coming to our events and they know our kids and they get to know each other. And so I think that they're probably the most important part of this whole mission is to have our typically developing peers come and join our group and see, what our kids do and what their potential is. And I think that it also gives our typically developing peers the opportunity for some mentorship and leadership skills and the awareness that we need for our vulnerable citizens, right, our special needs teens, that, they have a place in this world too, and that they recognize them as part of our society and our community. And, just kind of make that awareness to them at an early age so that they can, see someone with challenges and say, I accept this person for what they are and who they are, and I'm going to help. So when they come to our events, I love that we have repeat volunteers. So volunteer is very important to our events and our kids. We do have social media. So we are on Facebook. If you want to look us up on Facebook, it's Fantastic Friends, San Fernando Valley. And we're also on Instagram, which is Fantastic Friends _ San Fernando. And we're on Twitter. Our Twitter address is FanFriends _ SFV, like San Fernando Valley. And you can also reach us at info@fantasticfriendssfv.com, or you can give me a call or a text at 323-821-4915.
Okay, I'm going to repeat those last two again, just in case people had trouble marking it down or didn't quite hear it the first time. The email address was info@fantasticfriends, Friends, V Valley, or San Fernando Valley. So info@fantasticfriendssfv.com, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then you want to repeat the phone number one more time?
Sure. It is 323-821-4915.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Lisa, for your time and the information that you've shared, and I hope that those listening will take advantage of the wonderful opportunities that Fantastic Friends has to offer, whether here on the West Coast, or if they happen to be on the East Coast, or if they might want to possibly start their own chapter somewhere in between. I also want to thank our listeners for spending a part of their day with us. I'm Gilda Evans. Take care of yourself and that special person in your life.